My grandmother slid a folded bank statement across the Sunday dinner table, right between the mashed potatoes and my mother's untouched wine glass. "Denise," she said, calm as church bells, "read line 6 out loud." My mother's face changed before her eyes even reached the paper, and my sister stopped chewing like the room had lost oxygen. The amount was there in black ink, $4,800 withdrawn. The same morning, my mother told me Grandma's envelope had gone missing. My name is Mara Whitcomb. I'm 33 years old. What my mother didn't know was that Grandma had written down every bill inside that envelope before she handed it over to her. 2 days earlier, I'd been standing in my apartment kitchen with my phone in one hand and an overdue rent notice in the other, staring at a photo my mother had posted from a luxury spa in Scottsdale. She was in a white robe, holding a mimosa, her cheeks flushed pink from steam and champagne. Beside her were 3 of her friends from her garden club, all wearing matching slippers and laughing under a caption that said, "Finally learning to put myself first." I remember the sound my refrigerator made behind me, that low, tired hum. I remember the cracked blue mug in my sink with a tea bag stuck to the side. I remember thinking it was strange how betrayal could happen on a bright phone screen while you were barefoot on cold tile, because that money had not been hers. My grandmother, Ruth Calder, had handed my mother a sealed cream envelope after my grandfather's memorial brunch. My name was written across the front in Grandma's careful cursive. For Mara. Rent first. Breathing second. Grandma knew I had been struggling. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't lazy. I had been covering shifts at the medical billing office, helping my mother with her errands, driving Grandma to appointments, and still trying to patch the hole left after my hours were cut. When Grandma hugged me that day, she whispered, "Don't argue. Let somebody help you for once." But my mother had stepped between us with that soft, practiced smile she used whenever she wanted to look generous in public. "I'll keep it safe in my purse," she said. "Mara loses things when she's emotional." I didn't lose things. My family just called me emotional whenever I noticed what they were doing. At first, I let it go, because Grandma looked exhausted, and because the memorial brunch already had enough grief sitting in every chair. My younger sister, Paige, was crying beautifully by the dessert table while people told her how sensitive she was. I was collecting plates, boxing leftovers, and making sure Grandma's medication alarm didn't get missed. That was how it usually worked. Paige felt things. I handled them. So when I texted my mother later that night asking about the envelope, she replied, "Tomorrow, Mara. Don't start." The next morning, she said she couldn't find it. By afternoon, she suggested Grandma might have forgotten to put anything inside. By the evening, she told me, "You know, at your age, you really shouldn't be expecting gifts from elderly relatives." Then came the spa photos. Not one photo, 12, hot stone massage, champagne brunch, desert view suite, a boutique shopping bag on my mother's lap, her friend Marcy commenting, "You deserve this getaway, Denise." I called her 3 times before she answered. Steam hissed faintly in the background like she had picked up from inside heaven. "Mom," I said, trying to keep my voice level, "did you use Grandma's envelope?" There was a pause. Then she laughed, not nervously, not guiltily, annoyed. "Mara, you are too old to need gifts." My hand tightened around the rent notice so hard the paper bent. That money was for my apartment. "You always make everything sound desperate," she said. "Besides, I have spent 33 years sacrificing for you girls. One weekend is not a crime." I wanted to ask when the sacrifices had happened. Between the summers I babysat Paige for free, between the times I paid her electric bill and she told relatives I was still figuring life out, between every birthday where Paige got jewelry and I got kitchen towels because I was practical. But I didn't say any of that. I just asked, "Does Grandma know?" The steam in the background went quiet. Then my mother said, "Don't you dare upset her." That was the sentence that told me everything. Not don't accuse me. Not I didn't take it, don't upset her. Like the truth was the dangerous part. I didn't call Grandma that night. That was the part I hated admitting later. I sat on my kitchen floor, rent notice beside my knee, and stared at my contacts until her name blurred. Ruth Calder. Grandma. The person who still mailed me clipped coupons for cereal I hadn't eaten since college. The person who noticed when my coat cuffs frayed, and I couldn't make myself press call. Because my mother had trained me well. Do not make a scene. Do not worry, Grandma. Do not embarrass the family. The next morning, my landlord taped a second notice to my door. This one had red letters. Final warning. I was standing in the hallway in sweatpants, reading it when my neighbor Mr. Alvarez came out with his trash. He glanced at the paper, then quickly away, polite enough to pretend he hadn't seen. You okay, Mara? I folded the notice so the red part disappeared. Fine, just a mix-up. That was another thing I was good at, turning emergencies into mix-ups so other people felt comfortable. At work, I ate crackers from my desk drawer and checked my bank account 6 times as if money might appear out of pity. It did not. Around 3, Paige texted me a screenshot of Mom's spa post. Paige, is this what you're mad about? Me. She spent Grandma's money. Paige, Mom said Grandma gave it to the family and you're being dramatic. I stared at that phrase until my jaw hurt. The family. Somehow, when money needed paying back, I was the family. When money was given to me, suddenly it belonged to everyone. I typed, my name was on the envelope. Paige replied with a shrug emoji. Then, honestly, Mara, Mom never does anything for herself. I almost laughed in the break room. Our mother had always done things for herself. She just called them needs when they were hers, and luxuries when they were mine. That evening, I drove to Grandma's house. I told myself I would not cry. I would not rant. I would simply ask one question. Did you mean that money for me? Grandma lived in the same yellow house she'd bought with Grandpa in 1971. The porch light flickered. The hydrangeas were overgrown because Grandpa had been the one who trimmed them. She opened the door before I knocked twice. Oh, honey, she said, looking at my face. Come in. That was all it took. I cried at her kitchen table while she poured tea and set down a plate of shortbread cookies, like grief could be softened with butter. When I finally told her, Grandma did not gasp. She did not clutch her chest. She did not call my mother names. She simply got very still. Denise said the envelope went missing. She asked. I nodded. And then she went to Scottsdale? I nodded again. Grandma took off her glasses and cleaned them with a napkin, though they were already spotless. I see. Her voice scared me more than shouting would have. I'm sorry, I said quickly. I didn't want to upset you. She looked up. Mara, telling me someone lied is not the same as upsetting me. The person who lied did that. I covered my mouth with my hand. Grandma reached into the drawer beside the phone and pulled out a small spiral notebook. Inside, in her neat handwriting, were dates, amounts, check numbers, and names. I wrote down the serial numbers of the bills, she said. Your grandfather taught me that. Large cash gifts should be recorded. My stomach dropped. Grandma? I also withdrew the money from my credit union that morning, she continued. The teller printed me a receipt, and your mother insisted on carrying the envelope because you were too fragile. She closed the notebook. Sunday dinner is tomorrow, she said. I shook my head. Please don't make this a big thing. Grandma's eyes sharpened. It became a big thing when your rent money paid for her cucumber water. Then she patted my hand. Wear something comfortable. Your mother performs better when she thinks the audience is quiet. Sunday dinner at my mother's house always looked better than it felt. The table was set with linen napkins nobody was allowed to use properly. The roast was sliced thin, the candles were lit, and my mother had arranged everything like a magazine spread titled Warm Family Moments. She wore a cream sweater and pearl earrings, spa skin glowing. Thief skin, I thought, then felt guilty for thinking it. Paige, Arrived late with her boyfriend, Nolan, and kissed Mom's cheek. "Smells amazing," Paige said. Mom smiled. "Some of us still believe in family traditions." Her eyes flicked to me. I had worn jeans and a soft green sweater. Comfortable, like Grandma told me. But my hands were cold. Grandma came in last. She was small, steady, and carrying a brown leather folder under one arm. My mother noticed it immediately. "What's that, Mom?" "Paperwork," Grandma said. "For what?" "Dinner first." That should have been warning enough. For 20 minutes, my mother performed innocence with the dedication of a Broadway understudy. She asked Nolan about work. She told Paige she looked thin. She asked me if my landlord had calmed down yet, as if eviction notices were temper tantrums. I said, "Not really." Mom sighed. "Mara, you do attract chaos." Grandma's fork stopped against her plate. No one else seemed to hear it. After dessert, my mother stood to clear dishes, probably thinking she'd escaped. "Sit down, Denise," Grandma said. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Mom froze with 2 plates in her hands. "Is something wrong?" "Yes," Grandma said. "Put those down." Paige shifted. "Grandma, if this is about Mara—" "It is about theft," Grandma said. The word cracked open the room. My mother laughed once. "Theft? What on earth?" Grandma opened the leather folder and removed 3 papers. One was a withdrawal receipt. One was a photocopy of the envelope with my name on it, because apparently Grandma had copied that too. The third was the bank statement. She placed the statement in front of my mother. "Read line 6. Mom stared at it. "Out loud," Grandma said. My mother's fingers touched the page but did not pick it up. Paige leaned over. "What is it?" Grandma answered without looking at her. "A cash withdrawal, $4,800. Same day I gave Denise an envelope for Mara." Mom's cheeks flushed. "That doesn't prove anything." "No," Grandma said, "but your spa resort does." Nolan looked like he wanted to evaporate into the wallpaper. Mom's voice sharpened. "I paid for that trip myself." "With what funds?" "My own." "From which account?" "That is none of your business." Grandma nodded. "It became my business when you took money I entrusted to you." "I didn't take anything," Mom snapped. "You gave me an envelope." "To hand to Mara. You didn't specify that exact second." The envelope had her name on it. Mom looked at me then, and there it was. Not shame. Fury. "You ran to her?" I swallowed. "You spent my rent money." "You are not a child, Mara." "No," Grandma said. "She is an adult, which makes stealing from her worse, not better." Paige folded her arms. "Maybe Mom borrowed it. Families borrow." "Borrowing requires permission," Grandma said. Mom's eyes shone now, but I knew those tears. They were stage lights. "I have been under unimaginable stress," she whispered. "My father just died. I needed one weekend where I wasn't everyone's caretaker." I almost stood up. "Caretaker?" Grandma's face went pale, but her voice stayed firm. "Your father died, Denise. He did not leave you a gift card to rob your daughter." The silence afterward was enormous. Then Grandma slid the photocopy of the envelope across the table. 48 hours, she said. "Return every dollar to Mara, or I file a police report." My mother stared at Grandma as if she had slapped her. "A police report," she repeated. "Against your own daughter?" Grandma did not blink. "For my granddaughter." Paige pushed back her chair. "This is insane. Grandma, you're grieving. Mara got in your head." I felt that old reflex rise in me, the urge to shrink, apologize, smooth the tablecloth and say it was fine. Then I looked at my mother's hands. French manicure, new silver bracelet, resort tan line. My rent notice flashed in my mind like a warning sign. "I didn't get in anyone's head," I said. "I told the truth." Mom laughed through her tears. "The truth? The truth is, you've always resented me. You think I owe you because your life didn't turn out glamorous." "My life didn't need glamorous," I said. "It needed the money Grandma gave me." Nolan quietly stood. "I think I'm going to wait in the car." "Paige." hissed his name, but he was already gone. Grandma gathered the papers neatly. 48 hours, Denise. Mom's face hardened. The tears vanished like someone had shut off a faucet. You would really humiliate me? You did that yourself. I don't have $4,800 lying around. Then return what you bought. Cancel what you can. Borrow from the friends who toasted with it. My mother's mouth twisted. You are enjoying this. Grandma's voice finally trembled. No, I am ashamed this is necessary. That landed harder than anger. For 1 second, my mother looked small. Not sorry, exactly. Exposed. Then she turned on me. You're really going to let her do this? Ruin me over rent? I stood up slowly. My knees shook, but my voice didn't. You let me think I was going to lose my apartment while you were getting a seaweed wrap. Paige scoffed. Oh my God, Mara. I looked at her. If your name had been on that envelope, Mom would have driven it to your house with balloons. Paige opened her mouth, then closed it, because everyone knew it was true. Grandma touched my elbow. Come on, honey. We left without taking leftovers. In the car, I finally breathed. Grandma sat behind the wheel but didn't start the engine. I should have handed it directly to you, she said. No, I whispered. She shouldn't have stolen it. Grandma nodded, staring at my mother's glowing porch windows. The next morning, Mom sent me 14 texts. First came denial. I never agreed it was yours. Then guilt. After everything I've done, this is how you repay me. Then threats. If police come to my door, don't ever call me mother again. Then at 11:23 a.m., a screenshot. A pending transfer for $1,200. Mom, this is all I can do. Tell Ruth to stop. I showed Grandma. She read it, lips pressed thin, then picked up her phone and called my mother on speaker. Denise answered with a sharp, "What?" Grandma said. That leaves $3,600. I don't have it. You have 29 hours. You can't squeeze blood from a stone. No, Grandma said, but I can squeeze truth from a bank statement. There was silence. Then Mom said, quieter. What does that mean? Grandma looked at me and I realized she had another paper in her folder, one she hadn't shown at dinner. It means, Grandma said, your spa weekend wasn't the only withdrawal I found. My mother did not answer for so long I thought the call had dropped. Then she whispered, Mom. Grandma's hand tightened around the phone. There was $800 taken from my checking account 3 weeks after your father died. You told me it was for cemetery paperwork. It was, Mom said quickly. Grandma pulled the paper closer. The charge went to a boutique hotel. My stomach turned. Mom began crying again, but this time it sounded different. Smaller. Cornered. I was drowning, she said. Nobody understands what I've been carrying. Grandma closed her eyes. No, Denise, you were spending. By that evening, the remaining $3,600 appeared in my account. Paige sent half. My mother's spa friend Marcy sent the other half with a note that simply said, I didn't know. Mom did not apologize. She sent one text. There. Happy now? I stared at it for a long time, then deleted it. The next day, I paid my rent in full. When the landlord handed me a receipt, I sat in my car and cried so hard my chest hurt. Not because everything was fixed, because for once, the disaster had not been left for me to absorb quietly. Grandma did not file the police report. She did something that cut deeper. She removed my mother from every account, changed her locks, updated her will, and asked me to drive her to the credit union. My mother told relatives I had turned Grandma against her. Paige didn't speak to me for 2 months. Some cousins believed Mom. Some didn't. For the first time in my life, I stopped chasing the ones who preferred the lie. 6 months later, Grandma moved into a smaller condo near my apartment. Every Thursday, I took her grocery shopping, and afterward, we ate soup at the little diner with the red booths. She insisted on paying sometimes. I let her, but only after checking that the bill actually belonged to us. My hours at work picked back up. I started saving again. Not much at first, $20 here, $40 there, but every deposit felt like proof that my life was mine. Paige eventually came over with a grocery bag and swollen eyes. "She told me you exaggerated," she said. "I know. I'm sorry I believed her." I let her in, but I didn't make it easy. Love, I learned, does not require handing someone the keys to hurt you again. As for my mother, I see her at holidays now sometimes. She is polite in the brittle way people are when they can't control the room anymore. Grandma still kisses her cheek, but she never leaves her purse unattended. Last Sunday, Grandma came to dinner at my place. Nothing fancy. Roast chicken, boxed potatoes, green beans with too much butter. Afterward, she handed me a cream envelope with my name on it. I froze. Grandma smiled and tapped the table. "Open it now." Inside was a single dollar bill and a handwritten note. For Mara. Proof you don't have to earn being loved. I laughed, then cried, and Grandma reached across my tiny kitchen table to hold my hand. Outside, rain tapped the windows, but inside, the receipt for my paid rent was still pinned to the fridge, steady as a promise. If you were in my shoes, would you have forgiven my mom or let Grandma file the report? If this story stayed with you, tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. And if you want more stories like this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.